Hey, it's Chris Beyer.
Chris Bowling.
Who's this guy?
Hey, fellas.
Hey,
How are you
Blake.
guys?
Good. Thanks for joining us again. We had a good finish to 2023 working together. So we decided not to talk about work today and have a little fun, let people get to know you, get to know Chris and I a little bit more. So no time like the end of January to talk about superstitions. Why? We needed something to talk about. So I know, Chris, you and I have talked so much about like athletics and sports, and I know Blake, you've got some background in that, but you're also a huge sports fan. So I wanted to ask today, guys, like what are your biggest superstitions, whether they're founded or unfounded? And let's have some fun just talking through that. So, Chris, I'll kick it to you first.
Mine is not sports related. It's actually
Oh,
I have more that are work related. So I know we didn't want to talk
okay,
about work, but
that's fine.
mine is work related. So I have always felt that if you talk about adding a new client before they've been added, like, oh, they're going to be a new client.
Yep.
I think 100% of the time that I've said that, somehow something happens and then we don't add them. We had
Yes.
this stupid bell in our office, and people would ring that bell every time they would add a new client, and I would never ring it. And
I
it,
remember this.
and it would upset Dan Molyneux because there's some significance to this bell. But I was like, I'm not ringing that bell.
I think it was Dan Senior's bell. So,
It
like,
was. I was
but
like,
I know you would not ring it at all.
not ringing it. Nope. So that was mine.
I remember when I first started with the agency, you had told us that you and our former president had got the commitment from a prospect. You guys went out and had drinks and then found out like the whole thing fell through the very next day. And
Oh
like
no.
the
No, it was
celebration
worse
was
than
up
that.
and then it was in.
It was worse than that. We were literally at the bar ready to cheers each other, and my phone goes ding, and I looked down, and it was the CEO has decided to not move forward
Oh,
after they
yeah.
already.
That's
Yeah, they actually signed all the letters. I was like, ding, oh man.
so Blake, I think this fits into your sports superstitions, man. Like you're talking about like don't say it unless it happens. So, you know,
Oh yeah. Your team gets out to a big lead. Never be the guy that says, "Oh, this game's over. We won.
yep.
We can change the channel, watch something else." Seems like every time somebody says that, you jinx your team.
Yeah.
So you can't talk about it till it's over, and I've seen it way too many times.
Very true.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like growing up, I played baseball. I love baseball, probably to watch more than any sport, which, it's a slow sport, but like baseball's full of superstition. So, it's just like the things you do and don't say when you're at the game as a fan or when you're a player. But I think back to like a lot of my superstitions came in no surprise. As Chris, you said, I'm Mr. Organization and Planning. So this is my nerd effect. But like since I've been young, whether it was school or it was athletics, I had to prepare the same way. I had to eat the same pregame meal. I had to get dressed the same way in the locker room. I had to do all of those things. So that even carries over to today. Like I have to write out all of my prepared notes on the piece of paper before we have the meeting. All my little things to help me be prepared for the meeting, who's there, the date, what we're talking about. If I don't do that and I start with a blank piece of paper, I'll freeze up. So
That's
it's
Glad to
just
hear that.
it's my
that does not
weirdness.
surprise me at all that you have to be extremely prepared before we walk into any meeting because
Yeah.
you always are. I mean, so that explains it. That explains why you like literally the first sentence that you will say, I can tell, shouldn't say I can tell, but I don't want to say that you've practiced it, but I think that you've actually practiced it before we actually walked into that room.
Probably
Sounds
have.
good.
Probably have. So Blake, how have you ruined a team's performance by saying something wrong? I mean, we did just witness the Hawkeyes bowl game. So what did you do?
Well, I thought we were going to blow out Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I was speaking about that. I was like,
He was ringing a
last
bell
game
already.
offensive
Like,
coordinator.
Don't
I
don't
was
ring
like,
that
oh,
bell.
and then we'll regret getting rid of our offensive coordinator. But if you guys saw the game,
I
we
did
put
not.
up a 0. So
yeah,
uh, didn't work out like that. But
big goose egg. All Blake's fault is what I heard
yeah,
because he
yeah.
was he was talking it up. He was ringing the bell ahead of time. Well, no, it's kind of funny because, you know, you think through just all of our lives growing up and like all of the family traditions and everything that has brought us to that point, like those, all of us come back to, I think, especially when we're watching sports, there's the do's and don'ts. I say all three of us have that. And, you know, even though some of our teams are awesome and some of them are absolutely terrible, we're still going to have to hold to our superstitions. So
I'll even go as far as somebody leaves the room and then all of a sudden, like a kickoff return happens for your team. It's like you're watching it upstairs. You left in
yes, you
something.
cannot come back in.
You're kidding.
Same seating arrangement.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Push the seating up when doing bad. Yeah, I'm all about that.
Well, whether it works or not, it is funny. Like, I mean, it's just, I remember, like, Chris, this is how you operate. Yeah, you never ring the bell. You never talk about it. Blake, all you do is talk about it, apparently. So, and I'm just in the middle neutral. So it's good. Well, thanks, guys. This was fun just walking through a few of these. I know this year we'll have a few more, the three of us talk through and have a little bit more fun. So appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Blake.
See you
You
guys.
guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.